Good morning, beautiful people. Good morning, good morning, good morning. We are continuing with the virtual book club. I know I'm about 3 minutes early, but I'm really trying to get this all in before my son's bus get here. So I'm racing against the clock. Boy, do I not like this life when I have to always race against the clock. But I'm committed. I'm committed to the virtual book club. I'm committed to being here. And I hope you guys are committed to being here as well. So I look forward to teaching you all today. And I'll just wait for a few of you guys to get on so we can get started, which is a great thing. I do have something in my eye. It just drives me nuts. I'm a contact wearer. And when something gets in our eye, we can feel it like no other. Us wearers, oh my gosh, it can be like a little speck of dust, and it feels like somebody's taking a knife and just stabbing me in my eye. It's just so terrible. Oh my gosh. So good morning, Erica. How are you? I'm so glad you on. Good morning, Erica. I'm going to take this opportunity to just share this video, and then we're going to get started because we are talking money today. Money, money, money. Yes. Please join me this morning. So that's what we're talking about today. So let's go ahead and get started. For those of you who are new to the virtual book club, we are still on Dr. Boyce Watkins' book, It Takes a Village to Raise the Bar. It is a new paradigm for Black America. It takes the village to raise the bar. That's what we are going over today. And I am not going to read the whole thing paragraph by paragraph. So it is a free download. People, go ahead and download the book. If you're not sure where to get it, if you look in the description portion of this video, the link is there. Click the link, sign up, download the book, okay? It's a great book. I suggest that you read it so that you can follow along with me. I am not reading it line for line, but I am reading the paragraphs that I chose to highlight for the purpose of the virtual book club. So go ahead and download the book. I see everyone coming on now. Good morning, Rolando. Good morning, Noel. Hi, Shonna. I have to talk to you about the interview we talked about on personality types. Okay, awesome. All right, no problem, Erica. I'll make sure I reach out to you in the inbox. If I forget, reach out to me because sometimes my mind is whoop-de-doop-de because I do too many things. So let's talk about wealth. Today we're talking about money. So I hope you guys have your pen and papers and listen to what Dr. Boyce Watkins has to say. And like I said 100 times, I'm going to say it one more time before I get going. If you do not have the book, click the link in the description portion of my video and download the book. Read the book in its entirety, because I'm not going over each and every paragraph. I'm just highlighting certain things for the purpose of this book club. But read the book. It has some really good information. Just have an open mind. Open up your mind to be able to receive what he is saying. Eat the meat and throw out the bones. What you don't like, throw it away. But what matters is what you should be focusing on. So a lot of us, we like to just disagree. We like to just disagree. That is not going to get us anywhere in life, and in the situation we are in is not going to get us out of it. We have to learn to find the things that people say that we agree with so that we can build together. So let's get started. Good morning, babe. How are you? My husband is on. Great. Let's get going. One of the things that I can tell you beyond any doubt is that the vast majority of oppression and disenfranchisement in America is driven by economic inequality. Economic inequality exists because there were 400 years in which white Americans were allowed to steal our wealth and keep us from accumulating resources, thus leaving us almost nothing to pass down to our children. Today, not only do we have very little wealth, we are also addicted to excessive consumerism. We are spending our money left and right on everybody and everything that does not benefit our community. Your money is your power. Yet African Americans have been trained to give all of our power away. Destructive and gluttonous consumerism is planted into our brains by major corporations in every single days of our lives. They seek to control your minds in multitude of ways, and they analyze you the same way a lion studies its prey. Those of us who are the least educated about these marketing mind control techniques are typically the most vulnerable. We then end up giving our money to corporations that give us almost nothing back and won't even hire Black people when they have positions. So let me make this very clear. Good morning, Charles. Good morning, Sakia. What he's saying is marketing. Marketing is a form of programming. Marketing is designed to tap into your subconscious so that it can control you, so it can tell you what to buy, how to think, what's beautiful, what's ugly. It controls you in that way. So that way we have people, our people who hate our skin, we hate our hair, because when you turn on the television, the only thing you see are skinny people with long blonde hair, long brunette hair, light skin, white skin. That's all you're seeing. So it's a form of marketing that is designed to control us. Or when it comes to food, if you put the commercial on constantly over and over again through every break, your subconscious mind is picking up a message that tells you Coca-Cola is the best soda. Pepsi is for the young people. Fruit Loops is the best kind of cereal. Lucky Charms will take you on adventures. It tells you these things. And if you're looking at it with your naked mind, your naked eye, you're not really paying attention to what's happening in the subconscious. Your mind is picking up images and messages that are designed to control you. So that's pretty much what he is saying here. And too many of us, we are not savvy when it comes to marketing and programming techniques. We're not savvy. We plop ourselves in front of the TV and we watch. We on a checkout line in the store. We picking up a white magazine and we just reading. And don't be fooled by Essence because it's not Black owned. So you pick that up too. It's feeding you garbage. It's feeding you garbage. And we're just reading and we're not even aware what's happening. But the people who have studied us and they study these techniques, they know exactly what's happening and they understand how to program your mind and tap into your subconscious. So Dr. Boyce Watkins is pretty much saying you got to be aware of these things and be careful. Let's get going. He says, when it comes to wealth, I have created something called the cost model, COST. It means that in order to be free, you must be willing to pay the cost to your own freedom. This is an acronym that you can keep in mind on your own quest toward psychological, spiritual, and economic freedom. The C in the word cost stands for contribute. Contribute. Somebody write that down. Contribute. Everyone must contribute to some Black institution other than your church. This means that every month, find something that you believe in and give money to it. I don't care how much it is. Just get into the habit of giving something. The point here is that we must all realize that in order for us to receive, we must remind ourselves to give. It is not that hard. People have already been conditioned to give their churches, and only a small logical step is necessary to begin giving to our community. If we do not support our institutions, then nobody else will. We are a community that is addicted to the idea of expecting other people to maintain our institutions. I will say this. He is so right. He is so right. And many of us, I tithe all the time. I tithe all the time. And I'm not going to get into a big debate over that. I tithe all the time because it reminds me to give. And I said this before in plenty of my videos. I understand the power of giving and what it actually does. But I just don't give to my church. Practically every day, I give to a Black business. Whether it's online or in person, I give to a Black business. I'm not just going to go willy-nilly and giving all my money away because it's ignorance. That's not financially astute or smart. But I do give away all the time. And I saw a post most recently by one of our book clubbers, and I haven't seen him logged on yet, Justin. He wrote a post, and I felt his passion in the post where he was really mad at his people, Black people. He was really mad because he said we would go and we would spend $30 million to invest in the movies like Girls Trip, which I got a video that I'm uploading today about that. But we would spend $30 million to invest in a movie like Girls Trip, but we won't even give money to Dr. Hadaya, I think that's her name is. She's the woman that was on News One, TV One, and she founded an awesome discovery in the world of cancer. And she needs a donation. She needs to raise maybe let's say $30 million. I forget how much money it is, but she needs to raise $30 million to get her research accepted and off the ground. But yet we don't donate into stuff like that. We don't give to something like that. We like it. We'll share the video. It'll go viral. But how many of us actually give? And we have to get ourselves out of that mindset. We have to contribute to those who are making a difference in our community and stop judging them. Stop looking for flaws. Stop looking for fault. We have to contribute to those leaders in our communities who are making a difference, because I understand to make a difference take time. To be on here every morning, it takes time. And if someone is doing it, contribute to them. That's all he's saying. Outside of your church, we just can't simply depend on our church to change our community, because it hasn't happened for years. And I love my church. I love my church, and my church does great things in the community. But in terms of where the church used to be, it's not that. We have to do it. We have to do it. And the only way we're going to do this, and the only way we're going to make this possible, is if we're supporting one another and we're supporting our leaders who are willing to do it. So let's move on to the O. The O in the cost model stands for ownership. Ownership. Somebody write ownership in there. Every Black person in America must own something. You start by owning your home. Maybe you can own your own business. You've got to own something. I don't care how much money you make. Freedom has a value of its own. You can't always compare yourself to someone who has had everything handed to him by his oppressor. The man or woman who owns something has assets they can transfer to their children, which can be built upon for future generations. Many of the great fortunes of America were built over several generations, not by people who kept starting over by following sloppy consumption and reproductive patterns. If you own nothing, then you typically have nothing. Understand that the importance of ownership is one of the keys to Black liberation, both economic and otherwise. Everyone must own something in order to get ahead in America. So if you earn a lot of money and live paycheck to paycheck, spending like crazy on the latest and most fashionable consumer items, you're going to look back on your financial trail of tears only to realize that you have got nothing to show for it. Don't think like a consumer. Think like an investor. This is how you get ahead financially. I love this. Own something. Own something. Plenty of times I hear the excuses of people, and I just give up. I give up trying to help people fully understand what it means to own your own business, more than just own your own house. Because if you own, we talked about this before, people, in Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I'm not going to keep going over it, but I'm going to say it again to really take away what he's saying and expand upon it. He's saying even if you own your own home, that is a great start. But let me tell you something. Owning your own home may not be an asset. It can be a liability. If you are living paycheck to paycheck but own your own, and you have to show up every day to slave away, you can't quit your job, because if you quit your job, you know that your house is going to go under. If you fall back on your taxes, the government is going to take your house, because even though you think you own your house, you don't own the land. You got to pay taxes on that to the day you die. And if you don't pay your taxes, the government will take your house and sell it for a fraction of what you paid for. So yes, owning a house is great, only if you do it correctly. I really encourage people to own something. I don't care if you own a stock. I don't care if you own a little business part-time. I'm not telling you to quit your job. I'm not directly telling you to quit your job. I'm not directly telling you that. I want you guys to get in a position to own something if you don't already own. I don't care if you are the best soul food cook on the planet Earth. Sell dishes out of your house and save that money to invest it. Do not sell food out of your house and then use it to buy a car or to pay your mortgage or something like that. Do not do that. Do not do that. We have to learn to look at money as a seed. Money is a seed. So as soon as you get it, you should plant it so that it can grow. and get bigger and produce more seeds so you can plant it again. That's how we have to start looking at money. Money is not meant for you to obtain it to go spend it. And some of our elders and some of our families say the most ignorant things. I know in my family, I've heard the most ignorant thing from some of our elders. And they would say things like, listen, I'm going to spend my money. I earn my money. You can't take it to the grave. Are you freaking kidding me? That is the most ignorant thing I can hear from somebody out of their mouth. We have to get out of that mindset. We have to learn to start think ownership and investing. Ownership and investing. Like I told some of you guys before, we have multiple bikes in my house. I don't know why. We got more bikes in my house than we have people. Do not ask me why. And my son, his friends are always wanting to borrow a bike. And I told him, do not lend out any bike without earning that money. Rent them. We're not just giving them away. So somebody can put wear and tear on your bike and now we have a bike destroyed. No, rent them out. And he took heed to that. So if my 13-year-old can follow that program and reproduce it, so can some of us on here that keep hemming and hawing about starting a business or starting something. Damn it, start something and put a price on it. Stop giving everything away for free. So ownership. We're talking about ownership here, people. That is so important. Now, ownership is going to take me into the S portion of the word cost. So somebody write S stands for save and invest. S stands for save and invest. You do not want to be a perpetual borrower and a spender in this economy because that is what corporations train you to do. Now, I already told you, corporations train your mind through subconscious messaging. And if you're not aware of that, you're going to automatically get up, get a paycheck, and then go spend your money. That is how people are trained. And the reason why we don't see that at large numbers in other communities and other ethnic minorities, I don't believe I said that word. Strike that. Can't stand the word minority because I am not a minority. But nonetheless, I don't like when I hear this kind of stuff in other ethnicities and cultures. We don't see it a lot in other ethnicities and cultures because they train their children differently. They train their children from the beginning of time to own, to save, and invest. That's how they train their children and to contribute to their community, to keep the dollars in their community. There's tons of research on this, people. Money in other cultures and other ethnicities stays in their community and it replicates. And the black community, it comes in and it leaves in seconds. You'll be lucky if it stays in a black community in a day. You'll be lucky for that. We have to change that. So we have to start teaching our children to contribute, to own, and to save and invest. So let's move on. You do not want to be a perpetual borrower and a spender in this economy because that's what corporations train you to do. I speculate that one of the reasons why financial literacy is not taught in high school is because they do not want Americans, black and white, Asian and Hispanic, they do not want Americans to be financially literate. Black people rarely receive the jobs that are created in this economy. But the fact is that we are among the greatest job creators. We are creating these people's jobs that we are not getting. Millions of jobs created in the American economy are built on the back of black consumers because we are so good at giving our money away. I want us just to get that embedded in our thinking for a moment. The minute you get your money and you leave and you go give it to another business that does not look like you, that does not share some of your culture, who is not part of your struggle, you're building that other community. You are sending somebody else's child to college. You are sending somebody else's child to camp. You are sending somebody else's child to private school while your child is in their own community suffering in a school district that has used books, outdated books, that don't take the good trips, that don't have good computers in their school, that don't even have a library. Some of you guys see my video I did on Patterson, New Jersey, school number 6, that did not have a library in that school. That is a problem when our black children do not have a library. You understand what I'm saying? But the minute we go from a community like that and we run to the mall and we buy stuff that we don't even freaking need in our house, we are giving somebody else's child an opportunity to succeed in this world while our child is still oppressed. That is a major problem, and it must stop now. Okay, y'all getting me hot and bothered. Y'all know how I get about stuff like this. Woo, Lord Jesus, let me just get it together. Corporations have gotten wealthier than ever over the last several years, and the working and middle classes have actually suffered because most of their wealth is tied up in the values in their homes. Like I said, if you are struggling, living paycheck to paycheck to make your mortgage, you are doing it all wrong. Many consumers don't even have a home, making their situation that much worse. Too many of us are excessive consumers, whereas for corporations and the wealthy, a large percentage of their money is in the stock market. The growth in the stock market has a direct link to the growth in their wealth. You should be a part of this money train too. One way to join the train is to put yourself in the class of owners in this economy. Investing in the stock market is a good way to benefit from. Stop. Okay? Sorry, guys. Is a good way to benefit from the market's dramatic rise. Don't just consider yourself to be a victim of corporate profiteering. Position yourself to get some of that money too. Many people are so afraid of the stock market. Once again, if my children can invest in the stock market, my son has not lost a penny yet in the stock market. And he doesn't check it every day like he should. He doesn't. But he hasn't lost a penny yet. In fact, he's up by $70. And this is a 13-year-old who plays with the stock market. You don't have a lot of money. You don't have to have a lot of money to invest in the stock market. I have given my son, loaned him rather, $500 to play with in the stock market. Why did I do that? I was going to spend $500 regardless whether I was going to buy hair, get my hair braided, or do my natural hair every week, which costs $100 to do. So my point is, the money is going to be spent anyway. We have to get ourselves into the mindset of investing. I gave my child this money to invest, and he hasn't lost a penny yet in the stock market. Many of us, we do not play the stock market because we are uneducated when it comes to the stock market. We believe that is too much of a gamble, too much of a risk. So, oh my God, don't put your money in there. If you believe that, why don't you start doing yourself a favor and watching some YouTube videos on stock markets? Why don't you start joining people like Dr. Boyce Watkins, whom I'm part of, and listen to what he says about the stock market? Stop being so afraid of spending $50 to learn from somebody else who's willing to teach you because they have the knowledge about it. Stop being so afraid. Stop being so uncomfortable with sitting down in front of a YouTube channel because it takes an hour for you to learn. An hour is nothing. You spend an hour on ratchet TV. You can spend an hour on YouTube learning. So we really have to change our thinking. We really have to condition ourselves to be prepared to compete in this world in which right now many of us are losing. And that's not cool because it's no longer necessary in 2017 for us to be losing. The best way for me to control another man is for that man to know that I am the reason that he eats every day. This is what happens when we go to work for corporations that don't care two craps about us. This is what happens when we go to work as government employees for a government that don't give two craps about us. We know by going to show up at this job, they control whether we pay our mortgage, because if we lose our job, we can't pay it. They control whether our children eat, whether we eat, because if we don't show up at work, we don't get a paycheck. That is what it means to have a grip on you. And people don't like the word slavery, but it's another form of slavery, whether you like to hear that word or not. I can't think of a word that can replace the word slavery. Think of one, and if the word slavery makes you uncomfortable, by golly, replace it with something else. But the point is, we are slaves to corporate plantations. We are slaves to government institutions because we rely on them for our livelihood and our survival. And that is the best way for us to realize that we are controlled by another. Excuse me, Sage. If I know that, then the man that will never, if I know that, then that man will never disobey me. This is what happens to Black Americans when we depend on racist institutions to feed our children. When we depend on institutions that are oppressive to feed our children. This is yet another form of mental illness that has been planted into us since slavery, because only a complete idiot depends on his oppressor to give him what he needs to survive. The T, let's move on to the word T. T stands for target. Somebody write that in there. T in the cost model stands for target. We must target our money carefully and not give it to just anybody who asks for it. We must target our money. So every day we wake up, there should be a game plan on how you're going to spend. I'm going on vacation next week. So, you guys are not going to see me for 9 days. My whole family and I are going. We go every year. I love family vacations, but nonetheless, I'm going on vacation next week. And I started to think about what are the things that I need. And even though everything I bought did not come from a Black business for one reason or another, but many of the things I bought did. And that is so important because I targeted my money. And even though there were things that was being sold by a Black business that may have been $5 more expensive if I would have went to the Korean store to buy it, right? I didn't care. I considered that $5 additional, I considered it a donation. That's how I consider it. And I purchased it from a Black business on purpose because I know that I had to spend money anyway to get ready for vacation. So the difference is I targeted my money. And we have to get accustomed to targeting our money. Sage, stop. When you obtain wealth in the community, in the Black community, you must target that wealth toward Black businesses, Black institutions, and other things that are going to help your community. I find it fascinating that there are people who will complain about spending $10 with a Black company because they don't trust the business and don't know where the money is going. However, that same person will go to Walmart and spend $200 without asking a single question. And y'all know that is true. It is very true. Even if that business isn't going to use all of your money, talking about the Black business, even if that Black business is not going to use all of your money toward the stated objective, you can afford to make the investment anyway. Think about how often and how easily you might spend $10 on something else. Popcorn and a drink at a movies, a quarter tank of gas, a couple of drinks at a restaurant. I don't know where he live at. Dr. Boyce Watkins, where you live at? Because popcorn and a drink is more than $10 and a couple of drinks at a restaurant is about 20-something dollars to say the least. Moving on. Why wouldn't you give that same amount to something that would benefit the people you claim to love? My argument is that every Black child in America must learn the value of entrepreneurship, even if they never run their own business. It's like knowing how to hunt, fish, and build just in case there isn't a disaster. There is a disaster. Then, as the rest of us learn the value of targeting our resources, we then have the ability to create Black jobs, sustain Black jobs, and eventually obtain Black jobs. The targeting always goes full circle. So I'm going to stop right there because I have so much to talk about, but I have to get my child on the bus. Tomorrow we will pick up with the rest of the cost analysis when it comes to wealth, and we will transition into the education portion that Dr. Boyce Watkins talks about in his book. If you have not already gotten Dr. Boyce Watkins' book, it's a free ebook. It Takes the Village to Raise the Bar, a New Paradigm for Black America. Feel free to click on the link in the description portion of this video. Download the book so that you can be prepared to read along with me. We are going to continue our wealth talk tomorrow, and we're going to transition into our educational talk tomorrow. I love you guys. Join me tomorrow morning on the virtual book club at 8:15 in the a.m. Thank you to all those who have shared the videos. And for the rest of you guys, I kindly ask, just share the video because we can really teach somebody. Whether you agree with the statements or not, just find something you can agree with and find it in your heart to share the video. I'll speak to you guys tomorrow morning at 8:15 in the a.m. Be blessed.